All right, this is Mobile Gamer Nerd, and we are back with another Champion Spotlight video, free to play. Today, we are going to be reviewing the Uncommon Master of Raid Shadow Legends. Armiger is literally becoming one of the best, if not the best, hero that I have ever built. Um, Essentially, he's an uncommon. It means you can get him from the shop, you'll get him from mystery shards, you'll get him from everywhere. You'll be able to max his skills extremely quickly, and yes, he's amazing hero. Now, here's the problem with Armiger that I had with him is that you're not going to see his value for a long time. Um, I had him at level 40 in my vault up until stage 15 in Spider. That was when he became relevant. Now, after using him for a while, I can kind of see that he has some use early game, but I feel like the use that he has is overshadowed by every other hero that you can build that'll probably be better for your account in the early game. Armiger doesn't really start to shine until you're fighting heroes that have, I mean, enemies that have insanely high HP. So basically, here, no, why don't we just show you so you can kind of understand? So we have him built in a regen set. The reason being is that I needed him to heal himself back up for Spider, and I found that even in this build, it seems to work with him for almost every bit of content that I use him in. Now, he is a defensive hero. All right, he's got two skills. One, he decreases turn meter by 30% if the attack is critical. So that's important. So you're definitely going to want some crit rate on the guy. And this is where his attack kind of gets crazy. Um, his attack here is based on defense and enemy max HP. So that basically means the more HP you got, the more damage this guy is going to do to you. Both of these skills are amazing. So this one is really good for turn meter control on Spider and for Fire Knight and things like that. Later on, when you have enemies that just have insane HP, like bosses, the final boss, this I think it was the Ice Spider in the Doom Tower. When I hit him with this guy with that skill, with this skill, he did about 350,000 damage plus an extra. I think it was like 100,000 um, from War Master. So yeah, and that's not even the highest end stuff. I mean, I've seen videos where this dude literally hits for over 1 million damage because he's fighting like the last end game kind of bosses. So don't go crazy building him right in the beginning. What you should do, though, however, is collect him, max his skills. It doesn't take long. There's only what 4 and 5, so you only need 9 extra copies of them. So you need 10 of them. All right, get his skills leveled up, ascend him, get him to 4-star, and max him to 40, and then throw him in your vault until he's needed. That's basically what Armiger is. Now, Masteries, we did go down to War Master on the attack tree side, and accuracy is highly important for him because you want to make sure that he's landing that turn meter control. It's very important. Accuracy is super important for him. Not so much in the early game of using him, but it becomes very important later on when you're actually going to start missing. Um, Total stats right now, we've got 38,000 HP, 1,500 attack. He's got 2,800 defense, which, just to be clear, is super low. So he's still performing well with this low-ass defense, okay? Get it higher. You're probably going to want him to be somewhere around where my Zephyr was, and she has 47. Let's look. This is a better build for her. There you go. 4,500 defense would be better. So he definitely has some stats that we can kind of take away from. But his speed is a little bit low. You definitely want to get him about 200 eventually. But for the early game, early to mid game, this is fine. Crit rate is 85, not perfect, not bad. It is what it is. Crit damage, he's definitely going to want to get some of that in there eventually because he's going to be doing tons more damage if he gets up to like 150 or 200. Resist, once again, it's important, not super important. You don't want him getting stunned, but you also don't want to invest so much in resist that you lose accuracy or defense, okay, or speed. So I'd say order of operations would be defense, accuracy, speed, and then work your way into the crit stuff. And then whatever extra stats you kind of just have, or they're fine. All right, so now where do we use them? Let's look. I use them everywhere. I mean, let's just look real quick. he's mainly a boss killer, is what he is. Let's go into Fire Knight. I think this was one of them. Let's see, stage 20. Do I use him here? I do. All right, so team setup. Let me just make sure I have the correct one for Fire Knight 20. Here we go. Fire Knight 20, he's in here. All right, close this, start. So now he becomes your dungeon master, is what he becomes. After stage 15, you're going to find that just damaging heroes don't work anymore. All right. You're going to see heroes like Kale. He does a ton of damage, or like Galek, like all your starting heroes that are the really good nukers. They're all going to start falling off. And it's not because they're bad. It's just because straight damage doesn't do the job anymore. Your bosses are going to have tons of HP. They're going to have a lot of debuffs that they're going to be throwing at you. They're going to have more specific traits that are causing you to die. So what ends up happening is you figure out that Armiger can stop the turn meter basically by himself. If you get him to like 250 speed, he literally can make it so that a boss never takes a turn, because he's just constantly decreasing the turn meter one after the other. Hit, 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 and then everybody else just wrecks the boss, and Armiger just takes, just drops turn meter the whole time. And you're gonna, once you get him built like this for the first time, and you start to see the utility of his dropping turn meter, you're gonna love him. You're gonna love him. He's literally one of my favorite heroes now. He's fast becoming one of the best. He's in all of my dungeon teams, except for I think what's the one that I don't use him in the Ice Golem. I don't really use him there. I probably should, because he has block revive, which could actually be very useful there. I just haven't worked him into the team yet to make sure it works. I could probably throw him in as my 5th, and it would probably still work. And the other good news is when you're doing the waves, most, you would think that having AoE hitters that kill everything faster could be the best option, and sometimes it is. Don't get me wrong, it is. But having him in the fight for the waves, he'll attack heroes that have high turn meter, see, and then all of a sudden they can't do an attack. So it actually lowers the amount of hits that you're going to be getting during the waves, so that you can protect your team better. So if you're having trouble basically getting through waves because they're like one-shotting a hero or something crazy, and even shields aren't working, then Armiger can come in and just start decreasing turn meters and making sure you're only getting hit with enough things that you can kind of heal up through before they get another attack. All right, so that's where Armiger kind of really starts to shine, is when you need turn meter reduction on a lot of things. And if you're doing these things on manual, and it's not for a quest, like this would be for a quest, obviously it's stage 20, but if you're not doing it for a quest and you can just manual it, then yeah, you just pick the hero that keeps killing you and just keep dropping his turn meter, and that's it. He'll never get a turn. And if you have like Syl or Soul Bond or Crimson Slayer, all of them have turn meter reduction. So you can literally just turn meter reduction the heroes that are killing you while you knock them out. Boom. Sorry, you don't get a turn. Sorry. Oh, she got decreased speed. I thought she did the turn meter. There you go. Decreased turn meter. You don't get a turn. And now you're asleep, and now you're dead. All right. On to Fire Knight 20. Now, he is a one-hitter. So you can't put him in here with like a bunch of Armigers, because you can't get the shield down then. That's the problem. Unless they're like 300 speed, in which case, sure, have fun. But yeah, you're going to want heroes that have 3 hit A1s. That usually seems to work the best because your skills are a lot of time on cooldown. So 3 hit A1s are usually the best. There you go. Now, if he can attack right there, see, he'll still get his turn meter reduction on the 1, which is nice. And this is why accuracy is important. You see, Crimson just missed it. So he might miss sometimes, but luckily this is the affinity he's strong against, so it works out. This is actually the best affinity for him to work. And this is why it works. Look at that. You just keep dropping that turn meter. Boom. Sorry, Fire Knight. You don't get a turn. Now, I believe on this run, he at least gets his shield back once or twice. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. But it also gives you time. So, like, even if you can't do what's happening right now, even if you just get him so that it just keeps him a little bit slower, the boss, all right? It gives you more time to have someone like Crimson Slayer get the heal reduction on him. All right, so now even if he puts a shield up, he's not going to heal 185,000 HP or whatever the heck the number was. It was some crazy number at stage 20. So yeah, it basically it lets your other heroes work better as well. So even if you can't do what's happening right now, it's not the end of the world. You can still beat it. It's just much easier if you can do what I'm doing right now. I mean, say this is literally the easiest tactic to beat Fire Knight is just get a bunch of turn meter control heroes in here and don't let them get a turn. There you go. Decrease turn meter again. Everybody decreases turn meter in here, and Armiger is the best at it because he will never stop decreasing turn meter, and he's the right affinity. Like Syl has decreased speed, but it's not as effective as Armiger. It's just not. It's definitely not as reliable. I'll tell you that much. I mean, for an uncommon hero, that dude is. I really, honestly, I think if Raid Shadow Legends ever does an ultimate Armiger, I think it would be amazing if they literally only changed his skin, brought him out as a legendary version, and changed absolutely nothing about him. I think that would be the funniest thing that I've ever seen, and I would still want the guy. Like I would still want that legendary just because he would look cooler. Like just make him look a little cooler, give him like a shinier armor or something. I think that would be probably the funniest thing that Ray could ever do. But as you can see, this knight ain't getting the turn. It's just not happening. Let's see if he gets a turn before the fight ends. There we go. We got to resist. He's got a shot. Oh, and that one was resisted too. See? Every once in a while, this is what could happen. So that's good that it's happening. Oh, you got it off. But that's the thing. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Because he still has the same heal reduction he had. There you go. She got that one off. So now he's back in, and look at that. Back down to nothing. So if any of you are wondering why turn meter control is amazing, I really hope that this shows you. And there are heroes that can do this stuff better than certain ones that I'm using right now. Obviously Cold Heart is good. There are plenty of heroes that do turn meter reduction completely. There you go. That was the block revive. He did 75,000 damage. And there you go. Boom. Fire Knight dead. And that is just one of the many dungeons that he's good at. I don't use him in Dragon yet. Now, I would put him in here. It's just not worth the testing right now. This is more for, informational knowledge here. Later stages, it is conceivable that you could take out one of these heroes, put Armiger in, and he'll start doing 500k damage to this boss every time he hits. That is an option. So he is viable. The stronger the boss is, basically, the more viable Armiger becomes. So if you want to build Armiger up, give him like 5,000 or 6,000 defense, then he slowly becomes more and more useful as the stages get stronger. All right. And luckily for Dragon, he's the right affinity for this. So definitely he'll do even more damage, and he'll always crit. So that's good. All right. So Fire Knight, Spider. He is on my Spider 20 team. We did just do this fight in another one, but we're going to do it again just so you kind of see the utility. I'd like to do at least a few runs in here. Now, Armiger has been on my Spider team since 15. He's always been on it. It's been a nonstop thing. Having that turn meter reduction is that important. I think maybe there was one. I think one of the affinities, it might not have worked, just because he would get targeted. But otherwise, yeah, if he's not the target, I would bring him into here regardless of whatever the affinity is. So if you have a target that's got lower HP than him, and he's not the main target, then yeah, every single affinity is fine. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, you might miss the turn meter a little bit more, and if you've got affinities that match, it's better. But it doesn't mean that I would take him out 100% of the time. Now, the star here would be anyone who decreases turn meter, and it looks like she missed twice. Now, this is the same affinity. Yeah, there you go. So he got his reduce. Now, if the turn meter's max like this, it's a little rough sometimes because he won't actually decrease the turn meter sometimes. So there you go. That's the initial HP drop. Look at that, 416,000 damage from Smite, and that's basically what Armiger does, because that Smite is based on enemy HP. So essentially, when Armiger hits, he's going to hit for a really high. I think here we go. Yeah, see, so 200,000, and that's with him only having 2,800 defense. He's supposed to have way higher defense. So 200k damage out the window, right? Done. Uncommon. And this is only stage 20. the HP modifiers get insanely higher the higher you go. So if there's a couple things you can take away from this, hopefully we win this. We won it the last time we did it. Um, I think it's because I upgraded Drexstar a little bit more since the last time we did this. He could possibly die. It is conceivable. Oh, maybe not. He'll heal right back up there. Now Apothecary can heal him. So the main thing to take away from this video is that every boss that requires you to get him to stop attacking is Armiger's playground. All right. Um, if you're having trouble in the early game, you can use him kind of how I just used him on Fire Knight. Um, you probably could use him, just throw a bunch of speed and defense on him and get him in some kind of a healing set, I guess, unless you've got good healers. Um, you could use him in Fire Knight that you're having trouble even before 15 if you wanted to. Just build him up to like 40 or 50 and make sure he can survive. He's a defensive hero, so even at level 40, he might perform better than a level 50 and survive longer because you're just putting defense on him. And then you can just stop the shield from going down with using just Armiger in the earlier we're talking like 10 to 14. If you really needed him, that's up to you. I feel like you should be able to beat those bosses fairly easily with just kind of bullying them down and just using attack and damage to do it. But just in case, it is an option to start using him sooner than I did. But stage 15 and everywhere is really where he started to get good. I used him in some of the Doom Tower bosses, not many as of yet, but I'll probably be adding him to the roster now that I kind of understand how he works and we're fighting stronger and stronger bosses there. But yeah, just that little bit of turn meter is all you need to keep this guy from doing any damage. Enough time for Drexstar to do his thing and get his HP burns off. And I'm convinced that this fight could be done without Syl and Drexstar, but it would require a lot more stats and a lot better gear, so that's why I'm not doing it right now. But look at that. Good job. They did it again. Another successful stream. Go ahead, use it. There you go. Lay to rest. There you go. He didn't even get the War Master. That was 200,000 damage. And he didn't even get the War Master proc. So he could have done about 250 to 300k damage on that. So there you go. Spider 20, a joke. Thanks to our boy Armiger. I mean, really, Drexstar is the MVP of this fight, but Armiger keeps that turn meter and stops that spider from healing back up, and so does Syl. So there you go. That's it. This is where Armiger shines. I mean, I don't really have to show you many more dungeons for you to understand how he works. He definitely does one thing, and he does it better than any hero in the game, possibly even some legendaries, because he's just constantly going. He's just constantly dropping turn meter. That's it. That's what he does. He keeps everybody stun locked in a where they can't attack. Okay? So now that you understand the greatness of Armiger, I'm hoping that you will take him and build him and make him the Dark Souls Raid Shadow Legends monster that he is. Honestly, that's what made me like him in the beginning. He 100% looks like Dark Souls. Not as much as my new boy, Lord Legionary. This dude is the Watcher. This guy has the Watcher written all over him. He is a Watcher. But other than that, oh yeah, and Conqueror. I actually want to do a video on seeing what all the Dark Souls heroes are and how they can do well in this game. I'm gonna build a Dark Souls team, in case you were wondering. So yeah, Armiger, best uncommon in the game. Should be legendary. Maybe they'll just add an extra skill where it increases his defense or something. That would be great. I can't wait to see Ultimate Armiger. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave a comment. You could subscribe. You could tell a friend to subscribe. You could tell a friend that I know how to build Armiger now, and your team is bad. You can gloat. That works too. But otherwise, yeah, feel free to let me know if you have any questions or things that you want to know about Armiger. Hopefully this video has been informative and gave you the information you need to beat Spider or Fire Knight or any other boss that requires turn meter reduction or somebody to smack him in the face with a sword. All right, so this is Mobile Gamer Nerd, and you guys take care.